birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up.
No, well, is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that?
Allegations about P Diddy. Did that surprise you about P Diddy? He's been on your show many times. Have you been to
real personal beef with Diddy? But it's got to go down. The bits are there. I'm a gold miner. I just found some.
Hip-hop culture aware, street-informed delivery. Joe Rogan just made a comment that stirred up a wave of online discussion. This time, he's questioning why so many people are staying quiet about Ellen DeGeneres and her surprising connections in the entertainment world. With recent celebrity scandals dominating headlines, Rogan's audience couldn't help but notice how Ellen's name keeps surfacing in these conversations, yet few seem to acknowledge it. When serious allegations started making rounds against a major music mogul, social media did what it always does. People began revisiting old clips, past interviews, and forgotten talk show moments. What once seemed lighthearted suddenly feels different when viewed from today's perspective. That's when Ellen's name started trending again. Viewers began sharing throwback footage of her and the artist in question on her show, laughing, joking, and chatting like longtime friends. The online chatter isn't about guilt or proof, but about how public perception changes when old moments are replayed in a new light.
All right, we're back with Sean Diddy Combs. Is it Diddy today? Because sometimes you're Puffy and sometimes you're Diddy. Or sometimes you're Daddy. What are you today?
I'm so confused today with it. As long as you say it in
A new thing? Are you going to try to be early?
Yes, I'm trying to be early.
Are you going to be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
You know I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late, because, you know, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
As the online conversation keeps shifting, those old jokes are being rewatched like they might carry a new meaning. And wait until you hear what Joe Rogan actually said about it. He suggested there might be a reason Ellen DeGeneres isn't facing the same public pressure that others in her circle have. According to Rogan, people are wondering why her interviews with certain celebrities, including that well-known music figure, are now being viewed through a completely different lens. Viewers have started reinterpreting those light-hearted party conversations from her talk show. They once felt casual and fun, but now some fans see them as part of a larger, ongoing story. Rogan pointed out that the quiet around Ellen feels unusually loud, sparking one big question: is this just a matter of timing, or is it a topic most people prefer to avoid? It gets even more interesting when you look back at how Ellen's show came to an end after reports about a difficult work environment made headlines. That wasn't just a brief scandal, it really changed how audiences saw her. Later, she and Portia decided to move to the UK, and Ellen explained publicly that the move was connected to the shifting political atmosphere. Still, some online observers interpreted the timing differently, not as a lifestyle choice, but as something symbolic. Whether that's fair or not, that's the discussion happening now. And that's why fans keep revisiting old clips, connecting dots, and debating what might have been going on behind the scenes.
You may have heard this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show, and then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were...
I guess Diddy just kept people at his houses because he's got multiple houses, and he's just had freak out part. Look at him. Look at Saucy Santana. Go, Saucy.
Yeah. No, Saucy's crazy. Have you seen Saucy?
Before diving deeper into what Joe Rogan actually said, here's a quick refresher on why Ellen DeGeneres even comes up in this whole discussion. When BuzzFeed News published its major report about her talk show, it completely shook up her long-standing "be kind" image. According to that report, several former staff members described a tense work environment where they allegedly experienced intimidation, unfair treatment, and poor management. Many said they felt they couldn't speak out without facing backlash, and that contrast between her public kindness and the alleged behind-the-scenes tension is what really captured public attention. The fallout was huge. The controversy led to multiple executive producers being replaced, and Ellen addressed the situation publicly on air. Still, the debate never really ended. Many people wondered, was the issue limited to a few producers, or did it reflect something deeper about the overall culture of the show? Ellen insisted she wasn't aware of everything happening behind the scenes, which split public opinion. Some believed her, while others remained skeptical. Even though the show continued for a while, the energy around it had clearly changed. When Ellen later announced that the show was ending, she said the decision came down to feeling like the work was no longer challenging. But plenty of viewers read it differently, suggesting the trust between her and the audience had been permanently damaged. Now here's where Joe Rogan enters the picture. During a recent podcast episode, while talking about Hollywood's social circles, Rogan noted how unusual it is that for years, many celebrities casually joked about those high-profile parties, almost like it was a status symbol. He questioned why people are only now re-examining those same moments, and why Ellen's part in that world keeps resurfacing in public conversation. It's wild when you think about it. Joe Rogan brought up how stars like Ashton Kutcher and a few others once spoke about certain Hollywood parties like they were some kind of exclusive badge of honor. Then he highlighted something that many people seem to overlook. A lot of those lighthearted conversations about these events actually happened right on Ellen DeGeneres' show in front of millions of viewers. Rogan's main point was simple but sharp. How did so many big names spend years joking about those gatherings, talking about them on camera, and acting like it was all just fun, while later reports and public reactions have shifted the tone completely? He wasn't making accusations, just pointing out how strange it looks in hindsight. One clip in particular from Ellen's 2018 interview keeps resurfacing online. In that moment, the artist she was interviewing teased her by saying he always invited her to his parties, but she never showed up. He laughed, saying they started early, but the real party kicked off later at midnight on the top floors, and Ellen's reaction had fans buzzing ever since. Viewers claim her knowing smile and quick reply seemed to hint that she understood exactly what he meant.
That single exchange has become one of the internet's favorite discussion points, not because of any confirmed wrongdoing, but because it shows how moments that once seemed playful can feel entirely different when people look back with new eyes.
What time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
No, it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then the after party.
Mm-hmm.
Let's break down why this keeps coming up and why Joe Rogan thinks it's strange that Ellen DeGeneres' name doesn't appear more often in the broader conversation. For starters, Ellen hosted that well-known music mogul on her show several times, and the party talk became kind of a running joke between them. At the time, it all seemed lighthearted and harmless, just celebrity banter. But now that those old clips are being revisited, viewers say they're hearing them in a completely different way. People even dug up older footage, like that 2002 moment on The Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien, where the artist joked about locking the doors during parties. Back then, audiences laughed. It sounded like shock humor and nothing more. But when those same clips started making the rounds again, many online commentators began describing them as feeling strangely predictive, depending on how you interpret them today. That's when the focus shifted toward Ellen. Some social media users began asking, what did she actually know, if anything, and why hasn't she commented publicly on these resurfaced moments? One tweet from 2016 even reappeared, a playful post where Ellen jokingly gave the artist a funny nickname related to cuddles and snuggles. At the time, it was just a quick joke, but people are now viewing it with added curiosity. And then there were moments caught by paparazzi where Ellen was approached with questions about the topic and chose not to respond. Some thought she seemed uneasy, while others said that's exactly how anyone would react when unexpectedly questioned in public. Either way, the online debate only grew louder, fueling even more speculation about what, if anything, was really going on behind those famous smiles. When you've had a major artist on your show multiple times, joked about party culture on national TV, and seemed to understand the references being made, it's only natural that people start expecting some kind of response once the topic takes a more serious turn. Joe Rogan pointed out that the ongoing silence, not just from Ellen DeGeneres, but from other well-known names too, looks unusual to many viewers. He clarified that his comments weren't about proof or accusation, but about perception, how things appear to the public eye. But there's another layer that makes this whole situation even more complex. Remember the reports about Ellen's workplace environment? Former staff members once described feeling nervous about speaking up, claiming there was a culture of fear and pressure. A lot of online discussions now compare that same dynamic, fear, power, and silence, to how people imagine things might work in other celebrity circles where influence runs deep. To be clear, none of that confirms any wrongdoing on Ellen's part, but it helps explain why people keep drawing parallels and why her name keeps resurfacing in these broader conversations. There are also smaller behind-the-scenes stories that fans often bring up, such as comments from a former crew member who described a tense atmosphere on set, or claims that certain guests were allegedly kept off the show due to personal disagreements. Whether those accounts are fully accurate or not, the recurring theme people online talk about is the same: control, pressure, and silence. And once the public starts believing they've spotted a pattern like that, everything begins to look different. Old clips, harmless jokes, and polished interviews get replayed with fresh eyes. One moment in particular keeps being cited as the most striking example, a reminder of how someone's perfectly crafted public image can sound spotless right before it starts facing its toughest questions.
You know, so if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
Yeah.
You may not do that. You're neat though, right? I would imagine your closet is color coordinated. Everything is hung in a certain,
Yes.
right? So you're neat. It's just that you're not the person that puts it back.
Back in 2009, after serious accusations against Chris Brown made headlines, Ellen DeGeneres confronted a well-known music mogul on her show about why Chris had reportedly been allowed to use his home. Ellen spoke firmly at the time, making it clear she stood against domestic violence, emphasizing that no woman should ever feel it's acceptable to return to someone who's hurt her. The exchange went viral for Ellen's strong stance, but years later, people began revisiting that moment with a more complicated perspective. When reports later surfaced about alleged toxic workplace issues on the Ellen DeGeneres show, some former staff members described feeling mistreated or fearful in their work environment. That contrast between Ellen's public defense of kindness and the allegations about what was happening behind the scenes became a central talking point online. It wasn't about proving guilt, but about how the public interpreted what seemed like mixed messages. To many viewers, it came across as a clash between image and reality, and that's where the accusations of hypocrisy started being thrown around.
Looking at the bigger picture, reports later circulated that Ellen and her wife, Portia de Rossi, sold their Montecito property and relocated to a quieter area in rural England. The move sparked even more chatter, as some fans online tied the timing to various ongoing celebrity controversies. Many were paying close attention to which public figures commented and which stayed silent, and Ellen's lack of comment became its own headline. Then, the rumor mill spun out of control. At one point, false claims started circulating online, suggesting that Ellen was somehow linked to an alleged legal matter involving her former DJ, Stephen Twitch Boss, who tragically passed away in 2022. Fact-checkers quickly debunked that story as completely untrue. No such warrant or court recording ever existed. Still, the rumor spread with shocking speed, showing how quickly misinformation can catch fire once people stop asking, "Is this real?" and start assuming the worst. Once the online crowd started asking, "Does this fit the storyline?" things spiraled quickly. With Ellen DeGeneres' reputation already bruised from past controversies, her name suddenly became a magnet for every shocking rumor that hinted at some hidden Hollywood mystery. That's the danger in moments like this. A simple piece of gossip can spread faster than verified facts, especially when public trust is already shaken. And that's exactly why these conversations refuse to fade away.
Even in her Netflix special For Your Approval, Ellen talked about what it felt like to be, in her words, pushed out of the entertainment spotlight. She even joked about how the "Be Kind Girl Wasn't Kind" headline ended up defining her public image. The moment was meant to be lighthearted, but many viewers zeroed in on the tone rather than the joke itself, the mix of humor and bitterness that hinted at how deeply the backlash had affected her. Ellen went on to reflect about fame, saying there are such extremes in the entertainment world, how the noise of hate often drowns out the quiet of genuine support. For some fans, that part hit hardest. It sounded less like a punchline and more like a moment of raw honesty about what it's like to live under constant public judgment. Ellen DeGeneres once said that in show business, people either love you or hate you, and somehow the ones who dislike you always seem louder. But when she made that comment, a lot of listeners didn't hear it as accountability. Instead, many interpreted it as avoidance, like she was still working through the fallout rather than fully owning her past controversies. That perception became a talking point on social media, fueling even more debate about whether Ellen had ever truly addressed her critics. Then things took an even stranger turn online. NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers went on Joe Rogan's podcast and made a wild comparison between the design of Ellen's former talk show set and a location tied to a high-profile criminal case. Rogan immediately dismissed the claim, saying the resemblance was probably nothing more than a coincidence, and noting that the building looked like something you could find anywhere in Los Angeles. But the fact that such a comparison even surfaced showed how far some corners of the internet were willing to go to keep Ellen tied to bigger conspiracy narratives. That's the reality of her public image right now. People are connecting her to grand storylines that sound cinematic, not because there's credible evidence, but because the internet thrives on drama and mystery. As for the reactions, they've been all over the place. Some users online claim Ellen must know something, linking her quiet life in England to unrelated celebrity scandals without offering proof. Others say Joe Rogan is simply voicing what many people are already wondering: why some famous names get harshly criticized, while others seem to get softer treatment from the media. Then there are the endless body language debates, viral clips showing Ellen avoiding questions or keeping her answers short, which some commenters label as guilty-looking. Others argue it's just how anyone would react under pressure after years in the spotlight. Either way, every new clip keeps the conversation alive, showing just how tightly Ellen's image remains caught between curiosity, criticism, and online conspiracy chatter. Again, this isn't about proof, it's about perception. And perception is exactly what fuels every online debate about Ellen DeGeneres right now. If you scroll through the comments, you'll see the same themes repeating: the headlines about her show's alleged toxic workplace, the apology many viewers found unsatisfactory, the move overseas that people still interpret as a signal, and now her name being linked to wider Hollywood conversations. All of it blends together into one big narrative that refuses to fade away. That's really the core of this story. People feel like Ellen never truly faced a lasting consequence in the public eye, so they keep searching for a deeper reason or hidden meaning behind her silence. It's less about facts and more about how audiences interpret patterns and coincidences, especially when social media keeps stitching every moment together like one continuous timeline.
And that brings us back to the main question. Why does it seem like no one wants to talk about Ellen in this latest wave of celebrity controversy? Many online commentators say they believe she's handled differently, not in any official or legal sense, but because of who she is and the level of influence she's built over decades in entertainment. In their eyes, Ellen still benefits from her reputation, connections, and ability to guide public perception, even after stepping away from daytime television. But what's shifting now is the tone of the conversation. Figures like Joe Rogan aren't afraid to ask questions that mainstream outlets tend to avoid, not to accuse, but to challenge the imbalance in how certain stars are treated. Once a massive platform treats a question as worth asking, the audience runs with it, dissecting clips, tweets, and interviews for new clues. The real controversy isn't that Ellen is being accused of something worse. That's not the point, and would be completely unfounded. The controversy lies in how fame, money, and media attention shape public accountability. Why do some celebrity names get endless scrutiny while others seem to be handled with more care, even when the same old footage is sitting right there for everyone to see?
Even when the quotes exist and the optics look messy, perception keeps driving the conversation. That's why this topic keeps circulating, because one major Hollywood situation caused everyone to hit rewind. Old interviews are getting replayed, old jokes are being reinterpreted, and suddenly people aren't just watching talk show moments for laughs anymore. They're searching for patterns and hidden meanings. So what's next for Ellen DeGeneres? Most likely a quieter and more private life, unless real, verifiable evidence ever surfaces connecting her to anything illegal. Not theories, not assumptions, not body language breakdowns. She'll probably be remembered more for the workplace controversy that ended her show and the reputation shift that followed, rather than anything tied to outside celebrity stories. Over time, her image has transformed from daytime TV's kindness icon to a far more complicated public figure, and that contrast is what still fascinates people today. As for the ongoing Hollywood chatter, the legal cases, the speculation, the endless online discussions, those won't disappear anytime soon. New headlines, appeals, and interviews will keep sparking fresh debates, pulling more names into the mix, whether they truly belong there or not. If you've been following this breakdown and want more deep dives into celebrity media, internet perception, and the stories behind the headlines, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next twist in the story.